going to just get in the zone. So we're just going to start by taking a breath. So breathing in and out. And in and out. And we're going to just try and have our feet on the floor if we can. And really make that connection with your bottom on the seat. It's really supporting you. And get in a nice comfortable position. And we'll start. Okay. So this week we're actually going to do our 4 dots in each corner. And just think as you're drawing this line of taking a nice breath in, and then when you're drawing the other line, let that breath go out and in, and then let it go. There we are. Now I always do my lines a lot heavier than what you need to, because obviously I'm trying to show you on the screen what's happening. So now we're going to do our string. And so for this week, I'm kind of going to do something a little bit. So I'm going to go across. And then I'm just going to have another one just coming like that. Okay. And I'm going to start doing my flux coming up this main string here. So I'm just going to start in this bottom corner. And I'll just bring it round like that. And then I'll have another one just coming out. And I'm just going to continue that up. And you can have them actually coming out, and they don't all have to be just in a row, and I could have some coming out from here. And just building them up. And they can be small, so we do a little tiny one. And they can sort of come out and be really big and quite bulbous. And when I get to the end of that string, I'll just pause. And before I do the other side, I'm just going to go and do my little kind of wisps. And you can have little double wisps if you like, and some little dots. You can have just a single wisp, and some dots. So you can have it kind of feathering out like this. So 3 little. Whatever feels comfortable, and mix it up if you like. And remember that you can turn your tile to make it comfortable for you. So now I'm going to do some flux on the other side. Oops. And they don't have to mirror the ones that you've done. And if you remember that we never go over the top of a tangle that we've already done. So if you're bumping into one, just imagine where, oops, it would go behind. And then if it's going to come out further down, that's fine. And then what I'll do is I'll do my little wisps. And if you want to give the illusion that it's really bending back, then follow the flow of that flux and kind of have that, those little wisps bending around a little bit so that they give that illusion that the leaf is kind of bending over. Okay. Now I'm going to keep mine in a kind of diagonal like this. And then I'm just going to come in and I'm going to draw little orbs. Okay. Just not on every leaf, but just in a place where I think, yeah, that just feels right that there should be one there. So I'm just going to draw. And I'll just darken in behind that. So I might even do another little just so I don't have too much there to shade. And I'm quite happy that that's where it needs to be. On this bit here, I'm going to just build up doing some little poke leaves. So I've got a section here that I'll just start that with. So I'm going to start from this corner, do 2 little lines, and our smiley face, and then our little heart for our leaf. I'm just going to fill this space with those. And just be aware of your breathing. Because when we're concentrating, we'll stop and hold our breath. But just be really conscious and try to breathe normally. And remember, when you bump into one of your little poke roots, just go behind. Sorry, poke leaves, I always do that, don't I? And draw where you imagine it would go to. what I'm going to do is just going to start and just fill in all the little gaps in our pokewood. Sorry, Pokeleaf. Just gone out to the border with that little bit of colour behind. And then I'm just stopping when I reach that outside border. I'll just do another little flux down the bottom here. From this bit here, I could actually get one of my little sort of little sprinkles that we did last week. So just like a little kind of walking stick shape. And then I'm going to just do a little mark there and colour that in. And then I'm going to have some little caps going out this way. I think they kind of fit. So I'll do another one going the other way. There's another smaller one coming here. Just some little rescues. From there as well. So it's just a little line and then come back on yourself like the island needle. I think for this top end, I'm going to just do a couple more of those nice little sprinkles. Okay. And just concentrate on that mark that you're making just at this moment. Just breathe with that. And just remember, when you hit the border, you can still go and do things outside of it. There's no limitations. Okay, kind of feel like I want to put some little worlds in here, you know, like the Printemps. I kind of just think they'd kind of sit in here quite nicely. So I'm just going to start doing a couple of little ones down the bottom here. They're like little cinnamon buns. So I'm just going to kind of do a little kind of border of them. Just going along here. I'm going to do some little ones just in here. And remember, like little cinnamon rolls, they kind of come back on themselves. Just a little bit of the one behind there. Just kind of a little defining little border. And you can actually have your flux coming up and creating a border as well. So just kind of let it grow out of each leaf from the top, like this, just to kind of come up and meet that. You can even have one sort of cradling that as well. Okay, so just to give you ideas that you don't just have to be filling the middle, you can actually be creating borders around your outside as well. Okay, so that's just a pretty little border there. I'm just going to think about what kind of grid pattern would work in here, and I kind of think something a little bit simple like our Chillon, just to fill in this kind of space here. Let's just put that there. So I'm kind of just going to create a grid very loosely in here. So I'm going to, actually, I'll turn it around that way, it'll probably be easier because I can use my border as a, so I'm just going to come down, just kind of get a pattern in there. Let's see how I go with this. So I'm going to kind of just start about there and just kind of arc it up. Go about there. About there. There. And then that's still going to be coming behind my, I think I'm just going to extend my little flux. Sorry, I've gone off camera. I'm going to just extend my flux here rather than trying to get the grid going in there. So then I'm just going to go along and do little hillocks. Okay, and then should actually carry on up here, I can see. Okay, I should just bring that up. Bring that across. Like that, just so that I'm meeting. That's it. And come up, come up. And I'd imagine there's probably another line running across. Okay, I'm just going to come down. And remember, you can always turn your tile around so that it's comfortable for you. And I'm just going to now do, it's like a little diamond shape. In each of these. Corner, in the middle where all the 4 lines meet. I want to do just a little diamond. And it kind of gives you the idea that there's maybe like a trellis going behind all these flowers and things. It's now kind of become a little bit overgrown, really. Okay. And just to say, don't be afraid of white space. So even though here there's quite a bit of, white, that's absolutely fine. So just make sure I've done my little diamonds on all of the corners. And if you wanted to, you could actually go around now and firm up your border with your pen. And if you come to something, just stop and then carry on. So if the border bumps into something, you stop and then carry it on from the other side. Not really much to do on the side where I've got my flux coming along the side. That created its own little border anyway. Just on this one here. My Pokeleaf. I've got a few little bits of Pokeleaf where I haven't actually coloured in behind. Okay, I'm quite happy that that's where I'm going to stop for the actual tangles. So now I'm going to look at shading. And with the flux, it's really just, you can put some graphite kind of down at the base of each one. Really, and I'll pull that up a little bit to kind of give it, because that's really where I think it's going to give it depth. But as with all of these things, you can put the shade where you feel that you need to put the shade on yours. And it's not about light and dark, it's really about giving depth. So I'm just going to come in with my little paper stump and just blend that out. I think on these flux it really makes a difference when you shade them. You can really see how that makes them pop. Oops. I've just noticed actually a little bit where I've done some without any little bits, and actually here I could just colour that background where I haven't, and then I'll just do the same on these side ones. And that really makes them, I think, just jump off the page a little bit. And then with our little poke roots as well, again, we can just go on just one side of them is all that it needs. So just choose a side and just add a little bit of graphite on that side. So for me, I'm going to just do it on the right hand side of all of those, and then I'll blend it out. But you just need to choose one side. Okay, and then just go along and soften that. And I know I said this, you don't have to shade, but it does make a difference when you do. Okay, and then our little fescues, you can just kind of give the ends of them a little shade because it kind of makes them look like little catkins. So you can just make them have a little fluffy head. And with these, I suppose just one side of them, like the underside on my little sprinkles. And with the Chillon, you can either decide to shade the whole middle or just go along the lines, and kind of, so I could just go along each of the lines that I've created and just add some graphite that way, and then do the same the other way. So hopefully by doing that, because I've got quite a big white space, will give it some depth, I think. Yeah, I like how that's made it kind of a bit there, definitely. Okay, and if you wanted to, obviously in your little swirlies, just add a little bit in the center of those so that there's the outer sides popping. And just if you wanted to, you can, I'm not gonna, but I will just do one to show you. You could add some little tipples in where the space is, but as I say, there's nothing wrong with white space. So if I just do those, because I've done those ones, that all ties up. But just to say, yeah, you can obviously add a filler. And just one other thing to say, the little 1, 2, 3s that we learned last week, they can actually be like a little leaf. So you could add, I'm just going to show you this so that if you're doing others yourself, you can actually have those as little side angles on any little sort of plant things that you do. So you can just sort of add a little 1, 2, 3. And it kind of looks like just a little leaf pattern on there. So that's just something else that I've just remembered to say. So that's, if you're tangling and you fancy just doing something a little bit extra with the tangles that we've learned. So I'm quite happy with that, actually. So it's time to initial. So find a little spot that you're happy to put your initials. And I think I'm just going to come down here in this little corner here and just put my PB. And then I'm going to just hold it at arm's length first before I turn it over and put all my details in the back, just to check that I'm happy with that. Yeah, and then on the back, put your name. Today's date's the 11th. And then I just put that it was a Zentangle session, and we have got quite a few today, actually. We've got Flux, we did Springkle, we've done some Fescue, we did some Printemps, blimey, we did Chillon, and have I forgotten any? Oh yeah, Pokeleaf, even though I kept calling it. Let me just check and make sure, because I did go a little bit wild there, didn't I? And I've done the tipple and 1, 2, 3 as well, but there's only so tiny for those. But I just added some there, and obviously to show you. So now we're just going to really reflect on what we've just done. So take a moment and really study what you have created. So you can turn it around and look at it from each angle. And just appreciate that that is a little piece of art that you've done today.